What dark secrets lie hidden within the extravagant mansion of the Von Richthofen family in Sao Paulo, Brazil? How did Suzane's forbidden love for troubled Danielle Cravenos lead to a night of betrayal and murder? Will you dare to uncover the chilling tale of love gone awry in this gripping mystery? Hi, and welcome back to our channel. If you are new here, please consider subscribing, as it helps us motivate to create more intriguing content for you. Let's have a look at the shocking incident involving Suzane Von Richthofen. This story takes place in Brazil, a large and lively country. Amidst the bustling streets of Brazil's vibrant landscape lies Sao Paulo, a city that pulsates with energy and ambition. As the economic hub of the country, this Maya city thrives with a myriad of opportunities and cultural treasures. Every year, a staggering $200 billion flow through its veins, fueling the dreams of many and propelling the lives of more than 4,500 families into the realm of millionaires. Amongst these prosperous families is the enigmatic Valley family, residing in the opulent suburbs of Sao Paulo. Their elegant mansion, nestled in the upscale Brooklyn Novo area, stands as a symbol of their immense wealth and prestige. Complete with luxurious living rooms, an extensive library, and a shimmering pool, the estate is shielded from prying eyes by towering gates and majestic brick walls adorned with exotic flora. But hidden behind this facade of wealth and glamour lies a tale that will send shivers down your spine. A tale of passion, deceit, and betrayal, centered around Suzane, the daughter of the illustrious Von Richthofen family, and her ill-fated love affair with the troubled Danielle Cravenos. As their forbidden romance unfurls, it sets in motion a chain of events that will forever change the course of their lives and unravel the dark secrets that lie within the walls of the Valley family mansion. Prepare to be drawn into a web of mystery and intrigue as you step into the heart of Sao Paulo, where fortunes are made and lost, and where the line between love and obsession becomes blurred. Unravel the captivating story of Suzane and Danielle as they navigate a world of opulence, greed, and ultimately, the darkest corners of the human soul. One of the very rich families in the suburbs of Sao Paulo is the Valley family. Their small family home is worth $3 million Brazilian dollars and is in the neighborhood of Brooklyn Novo. The house has a pool, an office, and a large library, in addition to many sitting rooms and bedrooms. Massive gates lead into the house, which is surrounded by high brick walls with decorative stonework and exotic plants that keep the residents hidden from the outside world. The Von Richthofen family, led by the father Manfred Albert von Richthofen, built this house. He was a skilled German engineer and the head of a large company that took care of highways and roads going out of Sao Paulo. His wife was a Brazilian psychotherapist named Mauricia von Richthofen. The two met when Manfred was a student at the University of Sao Paulo studying civil engineering. They say it was love at first sight. The quiet and gentle nature of Manfred went well with the outgoing and friendly nature of Mauricia. They eventually got married and started thinking about having kids. The couple's first child was a girl named Suzane, who was born in 1983. 4 years later, Suzane's younger brother Andreas was born. The children grew up in a wealthy home and went to the best private schools in the city. Because of this, they got a good education. When you talk about Suzane, you could say that she was a shy, quiet girl who did not talk much. Even though she was not the head of the kids, she had friends, was a good daughter to her parents, and got along well with her brother. She learned 3 languages as she got bigger. After she graduated from a German high school, she went on to study law at the University of Sao Paulo, where she had every chance to do well. Suzane wanted to do well in her career, but she did not have to worry about money because her parents were very rich. The Von Richthofen family's net worth amounted to approximately $17 million, and unconfirmed reports suggested that the family's patriarch held around €10 million in a Swiss bank account, intending to bestow it upon Suzane upon her graduation from school. Suzane had a great upbringing, a great education, and €1 million in the bank. All she had to do was focus on her studies, be a good daughter, and be a good person. As the summer of 2002 got closer, things started to change between Suzane and her folks. She was 18 years old, and at that age, she started to think about love more than her schoolwork. In 1999, Andres became interested in modeling after his family went to a show of model airplanes. During the show, he met a guy named Daniel Cravenose and started talking to him. Danielle was 19 years old and good at building models at the time. Andreas asked his parents to pay Danielle so she could teach him how to build models. The parents agreed to the plan, and while Andreas was taking modeling lessons, Danielle caught the eye of Andreas' sister, Suzane, which was a surprise. But some sources say that Danielle and Suzane met in kickboxing class, which is not true because the two young women had known each other for a few months before they went to class together. Even though Danielle and Suzane grew up in very different ways, they got along well from the start. Suzane's family was rich and educated, but Daniel's family was different. He came from a poor and troubled family, was kicked out of college for not doing well in school, and worked at a nearby garage with his older brother, Christian Cravenhouse. Suzane was a well-mannered and well-dressed young woman. Danielle's radical behavior was something she had not seen before, and it caught her attention, as did the young man's good looks. Suzane chose to keep her relationship with Danielle a secret because she did not know how her parents would feel about it. But as time went on, her parents found out that their daughter was dating the same guy who taught Andreas. At first, they did not worry and even let Danielle have these meetings because she said she was a law student, and making model airplanes was just a hobby. Later, the guy's parents found out that he was not going to school, smoked pot every day, and drank alcohol. Everyone knows that every parent wants the best for their kids. Manfred and Mauricia, who worked hard and had a lot of money, did not want to accept that their daughter was with someone like that. But the young pair had an unintentional helper in Andreas, the defender. Andreas loved his sister and thought Danielle was a good friend. He often kept their meetings a secret while the couple was having fun in hotels or at Daniel's house. Andreas came up with complicated plans and reasons to protect and defend his sister so that suspicion and anger would not go to their parents. As luck would have it, Manfred and Mauricia took a month-long trip to Europe, leaving Suzane and Andreas free to do whatever they wanted in the house. Since Suzane was 18 years old, she had a great chance to show her parents how grown-up she was. Instead, she quietly asked Danielle to move into their house, where they spent the whole month drinking a lot and trying out different illegal drugs. When the parents came back home, they found out what their daughter had been doing while they were away. In the weeks that followed, there were fights and arguments in the family, and Suzane became more stubborn and rude. One day, she offered that her dad buy her and Danielle an apartment where they could live happily ever after, but her dad said no. He told her she could do whatever she wanted as long as she paid for it herself. Manfred also said he would stop giving Suzane money if she did not pay for it herself. The girl got very angry, but she finally got over it, or at least pretended to, and kept meeting Danielle behind her parents' backs. On November 1st, 2002, early in the morning, the Von Richthofen family home was filled with screams. The terrible screams came from inside the house, where the children were shocked by what they found. Suzane and Andreas had sneaked out of the house the night before, but when they got back at 4 a.m., they found their mother and father dead. When the cops got to the scene of the crime, they found the couple's bodies in the master bedroom. While Manfred and Mauricia were sleeping, they were brutally attacked. They were beaten so badly that they could not be recognized, and their necks showed signs of being strangled. On top of the woman's head was a trash bag. It looked like the family had been robbed because money was missing from a bag that was found nearby. But as the cops carefully looked at the things in the room and the office, they found things that did not make sense. For example, the security system did not warn the guards across the street, and when it was looked at more closely, it was found that the warning had been turned off on purpose, which means the killers must have known the code. Also, the cops were looking at a house that seemed too clean to be a crime scene. All of the papers and documents were spread out in a regular way, not in a jumbled mess like you might expect from a thief in a hurry. The list of things that did not make sense kept growing. There were no signs of forced entry, no electronics were stolen, and some rooms had not even been touched. There were a lot of rumors about Suzane and Andreas after this happened, and of course, the media focused on them. Reports said that Manfred and Mauritius' son was so upset that he could hardly breathe. Suzane, too, should have been sad about the death of her parents, but during the police questions, she seemed surprisingly calm. It turned out that the children had spent the night outside. According to what they said, Suzane took her 15-year-old brother out of the house on October 31st at 9 p.m. to go to a party at an internet cafe without telling their parents. Their parents thought their son was sleeping at home. After letting her brother off near the cafe, she checked into a hotel room and told Danielle that they could meet up to smoke and have fun. Around 4 a.m., when their parents were due to wake up and get ready for work, the kids went home quietly, but when they got there, they'd found their parents dead in their beds. At this point, the investigators started to have questions. Suzane's story was different from what her brother Andreas said, because, unlike Andreas, she said that their parents approved of her relationship with Danielle, which we all know was not true. On November 1st, 2002, kinfolk, co-workers, and of course, the media came to a funeral for the Von Richthofen spouses. It was clear that Suzane did not cry nearly as much as her brother did at the funeral. People had a lot to say about the girl's lack of emotion, and reports spread that just 3 days after her parents were killed, Suzane had a party at her house by the pool. Also, people noticed how quickly her feelings changed from sadness at the funeral to laughter and joy at the swimming party. All of this made the police very suspicious, but it was a tip from someone they did not know that really worried them. Someone told the police that Danielle's brother, Christian Cravenos, made a buy that seemed odd. The fact that he bought a Suzuki motorcycle was not strange in and of itself, but the fact that he did it at a neighborhood store a few days after the murder was. Christian, who was 26 years old, paid for the purchase in cash with big bills, which made people suspicious. People who knew Danielle and Christian knew that they were not stable financially because they did not have steady jobs and used drugs and drinks. Based on the information they had, the officers took Christian to the nearby police station to question him. Christian first said he had nothing to do with the deaths and could not say where the money came from to buy the motorcycle. Christian finally could not take it anymore and admitted to killing Manfred and Mauritia. During the investigation, it came out that Danielle and Suzane helped him commit the crime. Christian said that Suzane and his brother planned to kill their parents so that the two of them could finally live together. Also, when their parents died, they would get the $17 million that remained. The cops took Danielle and Suzane into custody right away and started to question them. They told what happened, but what they said was different from what Suzane had said. The girl said that money was not the main reason for the murder, but her boyfriend said that the huge amount was a big reason why he agreed to do it. Even though Suzane and Danielle loved each other very much, they broke up almost as soon as they were arrested. Suzane was arrested at first, but she was later let out of jail until her hearing, which took almost 4 years to get ready for. While she was free, she had few limits on what she could do. With the help of lawyers, she almost took control of the inheritance. She also said she would talk to the local news reporters. During the recordings, the girl cried and said that Danielle was to blame for everything. She also said that he had killed her family. In the interviews, Suzane acted like a young girl who was sad and broken, seemed to be innocent, and wanted her mother and father. She said that her bad situation was because she was young and had never been through anything like this before. This performance was probably meant to help her reputation, but it did the opposite. Suzane did not have the acting skills to convince people that she was innocent and that she was just a victim. On July 17, 2006, Suzane, Danielle, and Christian went to court, where they were charged with first-degree murder. The jury was told in full what happened on Halloween. On October 31st, late in the evening, Mauricia and Manfred were fast asleep. It was Thursday, and they had spent most of the day at work. Andres sneaked out of the house with Suzane at 9 p.m., but as a 15-year-old boy, he did not mean any harm. He just wanted to go to an online party. Though Suzane had another more dangerous plan. After leaving her brother off at the internet cafe, she drove Danielle and Christian back home in her car. Even though the family security guard saw her, he was not too interested. Suzane made sure her parents were asleep by checking on them. When she saw that everything was quiet, she turned off the home alarm system. She then led the men into the living room, where they put on medical gloves, pulled their hoods over their heads, and went upstairs with iron bars to the designated bedroom. In the meantime, Suzane sat on a nice couch and turned on the TV. When the two men found Mauricia and Manfred sleeping, they began to beat them. Even though the husband and wife were in a lot of pain, they did not want to die and fought back. To answer, the brothers choked Manfred and Mauricia because they wanted to finish the job quickly. After making sure that their victims were dead, the three faked a robbery by throwing papers around the office and taking whatever money they could find. After that, they all left the house to make new stories. Christian went to a fast food place and made sure someone saw him there. Danielle and Suzane enjoyed themselves at a hotel and later asked for a bill as proof that they were there. At 3:30 a.m., Suzane went to the party and picked up Andres. She went home with her brother and claimed to be shocked when they found the horrible scene. During the trials, Suzane blamed everything on Danielle. She said that he kept drugging her with unknown substances and used the fact that she was impaired to get her to agree to the murder. On the other hand, the Cravanos brothers said that they did what they did based on what Suzane wanted and what she had planned. They also said that they were trying to protect a girl whose drunken parents had hurt her. But lab tests disproved all of these claims because there was no alcohol in the blood of Suzane's parents, and Suzane herself did not seem like someone you could trust. The lawyer said that she was the mastermind behind the crime. He said that she wanted money and assets that her parents had worked hard to get, and she also wanted to be free and independent, which she did by breaking the law. On July 22, 2006, just 5 days after the trial started, the jury found Suzane, Danielle, and Christian guilty of first-degree murder in the deaths of Manfred and Mauricia. The prosecutor asked for each of them to get 50 years in jail, but none of them got that long of a sentence. Suzane and Danielle were each given a 40-year jail sentence, and Christian got a 38-year sentence for his part in the plot. Suzane tried more than once to change or lessen her punishment. In 2018, she asked to get out of jail, saying that she had a personality disorder that made her do the act. Her request was, of course, turned down. Sadly, a number of terrible things happened after that. Andres, Suzane's brother, never got over the death of their parents. In 2017, 3 neighbors woke up in the middle of the night to find that someone had broken into their house. They found a messy man on the floor, and when the cops showed up, he said he had not done anything violent. This scared person was named Andres. He walked around with a piece of family history in his hands and scars all over his legs. Soon after that, he was taken to a hospital with expert care. The family moved out, and the house was sold to an unknown person in 2014. The new owner painted the whole front of the house white. People in the story feel bad for Andres because he had 2 loving parents, a great education, and a bright future ahead. But in an instant, he lost everything. It is not surprising that he fell into the darker parts of his mind. He was taken to the hospital, but it is not clear what happened to him after that. Even though Suzane killed her parents, she will probably get their money when she gets out of jail. This means that if she stays in jail for 40 years, she might get out in 2042 and become a multimillionaire. Suzane and Danielle are spending their time in a semi-open prison, which means they can leave on certain holidays. Suzane was seen at a party during one of these times, which shows that in Brazil, murderers who are in jail are given time off. Share your thoughts on this story in the comments, and if you like this video, do not forget to give it a like. Thanks for watching.